Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Parksy here, your coach of the Armaldos, bringing back the Smash today here for DGBA Season 6 Week number 0, aka Team Recap, where your Armaldos are going to be going over the team that they have drafted in the DGBA Season 6. First, we want to give a huge shout out to Haz for letting me back into the season. And I also want to give a shout out to the channel, the DGBA channel, because there have been a lot of stuff that's been going on. I've personally been trying to get into a few more of the stuff now, especially because I have been off for holidays. Because if you guys don't know, my GCSEs have just been over, so that's that's a good thing, at least for having GCSEs. You feel a lot better as I turn down my music. You feel a lot better after you get them done. I guess that's one positive thing of doing some really hard exams. But anyway, quick rundown of what this draft was. It was a tier draft, so it was 1 tier 1, 1 tier 2, 1 tier 3, a tier 4 and a tier 5, a mega, and then 5 free Pokemon, all amounting to 1120 points, I believe. And the difference between this tier draft and another tier draft is because this had sub tiers, so that meant that you could have tier 1As, which are like the cream of the crop. They're really good. They're like the amazing tier 1s. There are things like Tier Black, there's stuff like Mew, Victini, all those Pokemon. And then you've got the B section, so that would be, for example, if we're going to continue the trend of tier 1s, and that would be tier 1B, where you have the Pokemon that are tier 1s, they are quite good, but they wouldn't be considered to be the first round picks in tier 1, nor would they be considered to be the good tier 1s, but they're still tier 1s, and they cost a little bit less. So tier 1As cost 180 points overall, tier 1Bs costs 160 points, which allows you to invest into something like maybe a higher costing tier 2, a tier 3, or maybe just picking up a tier 4 instead of a tier 5. And the tier 1Bs are usually like Infernape or Necrozma instead of Mew. Like, they're usually the lesser versions, I guess you could say. But we have got a draft, as you can see, ahead of you of all 11 Pokemon. We're going to be running down through it, so let me know what you guys think about the draft. Is it good? Is it bad? What else would you change? Would you suggest to drop any Pokemon? Let me know. And also, if you are new, hi, my name is Parksy. I have been in the DGBA now for 3 full seasons, technically 4. I kind of dropped out of season 3, which was all the way back in gosh, when was that? I know it's when I was doing a lot of coursework. I can't remember. I feel like it was October, so that means that, like, I've nearly been doing this for a year, which, oh my goodness, it's crazy. But anyway. So if you are new, hi, my name is Parksy. I mainly do Pokemon content, but I have been planning to do some videos that are not Pokemon related, just with friends on the channel. I said this even when I was doing my GCSEs, and even before it, when summer were to come around, I'd be doing some videos with friends. So hopefully I can do that. Hopefully I can get some of my YouTube pals on that I have been calling all my Pokemon after. All these guys are my YouTube pals. Some upload more consistently than the others, so we're going to be going through them and just talking about them and how they correlate with each other in the team, especially because I did get some feedback through primarily Raditaman. He said that instead of just saying what the Pokemon do, talk about how they help out on the team, so I'm going to be doing that. But firstly, I was 8th. Of course, it was 8th. I always I've got the option now for the second time this season whether to be 8th or whether to get the position that I was stuck with. I always get a position that, in my personal opinion, is better than 8th. The season 5, me and Haz swapped. I was originally 4th, and then I got demoted to 8th. And then this season I got 2nd, but then I swapped with Mike because I was like, you know what, we have to continue this. I'm not gonna go too try hard, as you guys know. I just season 4, I'll admit, I kind of went try hard, and you saw how well that went. So I just been like bringing tech, a few fun options. The last season we got to use like Psych Up Togekiss, Nature Power, Moongus, just some fun sets even flamethrower Aggron we got to use, so that was pretty cool. But the first Pokemon I decided to pick up in 8th was Magearna, and I feel like Magearna was a cool Pokemon to pick up. Don't worry, there were a few limitations to it. If it were to just be a regular Magearna that you could draft the Sea Crystals, it would most definitely have went within the first 2 picks, I would say. We got Magearna. It cannot use Z crystals, which is kind of annoying because that is like Magearna's like bread and butter, just using Z crystals after being able to boost up. But I mean, there are other Magearna sets. Assault Vest is commonly used in the ladder, and yes, I know what you're saying. Smogon isn't the same as Draft League, but I mean they do have some correlation. So Assault Vest Magearna could be a cool option. Defensive Leftovers option could be a cool option because it does have great its typing and Steel and Fairy is so good because it manages to resist so many typings in the game, and it's only weak to fire and ground, so I can draft around that quite easily. What else was I going to say? I can also run things like Resist Berries if I want to, or Expert Belts. So, I mean, it's not like I'm starved for choice. It is a Magearna after all, and I can make use of quite a few items and hopefully bring some fun tech. The second thing, talking about tech that I cannot bring, is Shift Gear Magearna, which debatably is its best setup option, but there still are some other pretty darn good setup options on Magearna. So, again, I don't think I'll be starved for choice. I've got Calm Mind, I've got Iron Defense. I also have got Trick Room, so that's even a form of what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, get my speed up essentially by ironically having my speed down, and that's going to be quite frustrating for opponents because they're going to have to prepare for Trick Room Magearna. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And Magearna, I'm not sure if it's going to be the giant snowball that it's known to be, especially firstly because I drafted it, and secondly because of the restrictions in the season. I feel like it can be a very good breaker, but I'll have to see how it does as being a sweeper per se. Just because you guys know that I love running just fun stuff, so I might be using it as a fun breaker as I go ahead and grab my phone. But it has got a lot of options, a good bit of bulk, and some very fun tech that I can't wait to bring on it, I guess I should say. But it is half my Volturn core already with Volt Switch, and that's what I really struggled with last season, and what I think was very annoying was the amount of momentum I had was pitiful. I had like 2 U-turners and a Volt Switcher, and that was it. So I really want to get a lot of momentum this season. Just because I feel like momentum's good. It's just a good middle ground because lots of times last season I would just be having to hard switch into Pokemon trying to make predictions, and it didn't always go well, as you saw with my game versus Luke. But Magearna, I think, is a very good Pokemon to draft around, and as I said previously, it only has those 2 weaknesses, that there are Pokemon that can resist both fire and ground, and as you can see maybe from the Pokemon up above, we have got a few of those Pokemon that can resist fire or ground, or at least scare them out. So next up, we've got Mega Lopunny, and I told Haz, I said, Haz, I'm going for Mega Lopunny round 2, and he's like, Parksy, you're a courageous man, and I said, I know, but I'm getting Mega Lopunny, and what do you know, Mega Lopunny somehow fell to me in round 2, so I mean, it's a Mega Lopunny, I'm absolutely gonna take it. I usually don't grab my Mega that early. I think the earliest I've ever grabbed my Mega was either Mega Tyranitar in the PBA, or Mega Aggron last season. I grabbed Mega Aggron round 3, round 3 or round 4, I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was round 3. Just because so many people just didn't drop the steel type. But I picked up Mega Lopunny, and I mean, just it works so well with Magearna. Just them two can just break so well for each other. Lopunny's known to be just a snowball that if you get your team weakened, it can just come in. Magearna with Soul Heart is very nice because you can just snowball with getting special attack boost. So the two work really well with each other, and I think that Mega Lopunny is kind of one of the Pokemon that is considered to be one-dimensional. Like, you run your Fake Out slash Quick Attack, your High Jump Kick slash Drain Punch, your Return slash Frustration, and then your final move, which is like Power Up Punch or Encore, or Substitute, I guess. But firstly, it's me, so yeah. Second of all, I think that Has used it really well last season because this is a league where you don't have to first turn Mega, so I can stay a regular Lopunny and do a few things like enter entertainment. Is that it? I don't think it is. I never actually do this, but entrainment. That's it. So he used that against Hughes' Sylveon, which is kind of a cool tech, and I might be able to use this season. But it's just a very strong Pokemon, very hard hitter, and I think that it works very well for Magearna. And again, it's a Pokemon that I can draft easily around. I forgot to say this about Magearna, but Magearna gives me a Pokemon where I don't have to draft another Steel type or Fairy type, but I can if I want to. So that's the nice thing about Magearna, is that yes, technically it is a Steel and a Fairy type, but you can also draft Pokemon alongside it. It's kind of like Infernape, I guess. Maybe that's not a good. Well, no, I wouldn't say Inferno. It's like Greninja, basically. You can draft another Water type if you want to, or another Dark type. But it's fine on, well, maybe not as Water on its own, but as a Dark type on its own, as Jeremiah learned last season. So we got a nice bit of priority with Quick Attack, with Fake Out, a great just wall breaker, and people are definitely going to have to prepare for Mega Lopunny, and in most occasions that will be by bringing a Scarf User, and that's great because of course Magearna can then set up Trick Room on Scarf Users, so automatically people are going to have to run Pokemon with 0 IVs, and then they're also going to have to run Scarf to start speed my Mega Lopunny, so that is great. I really like the core between these two, and I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to prepare for. And next up, I wanted a Pokemon that could work very well with Magearna. I also want to get a Water type because Water types are those kind of Pokemon where you can draft one, you can also draft two, and most of the bulky Water types go within like the first 3 to 4 rounds. So I wanted to get a bulky Water type that I knew that would be good on its own, but can also go well with other Water types. So I decided to pick up Rotom from season 4. Yeah, I've gone a long way since drafting Rotom season first round in season 4. Let me tell you guys that I actually waited to a respectable amount of time. I still think the Rotom is a round 2 pick, so I think that I am getting a little bit of value out of this Pokemon. So I decided to pick up Rotom, gives me a good hazard remover with Defog. Rotom I think is one of, if not the most reliable defogger in the format, just because it's got great natural bulk and only one weakness to grass, which means that it should be able to sponge ahead while also getting off a defog. It is immune to 3 out of the 4 types of hazards. It's immune to Toxic Spikes, Spikes, and Sticky Webs, and also it only takes 12.5% from Stealth Rocks. It can be ran offensively, it can be ran defensively, it can be ran with Trick. It gets 3 options of status, with Thunder Wave, Toxic, and Will-O-Wisp, but also gets stuff like Foul Play, and just it's just a good defensive pivot in general. It gives me another Volt Switch user, which can be very nice with Magearna, because the main switch into Magearna is a Steel type, and Steel or Fire type, so I can Volt Switch out, I can go out to Rotom, I can force them out again, Volt Switch again, which is going to be very, very nice. And I was gonna say something. There's something about Rotom, but it works really well with Magearna. Like the core between Magearna and Rotom is near perfect, if not perfect, because Rotom of course only weakness is to grass, whereas Magearna's weaknesses are only fire and ground, which Rotom with the Levitate ability can take ground type attacks or the fire ability. It does not care. And I remember what I was going to talk about now. Rotom is a great electric type because firstly you can draft another electric type around it. So already with these first 3 picks, like I can draft any, like I can draft a Steel type, a Fairy type, a normal type, a fighting type, another electric type, or another water type. So that keeps my options open a lot. I get a lot of utility out of this, a great wall breakers out of the first 3 picks, and a great core to work with. So I really am keeping my options open. I personally think that I'm picking up Pokemon that have fell quite a bit, because I think that Magearna still, with the restrictions, could have been like a first picked up in like the first like 5 picks, but I guess it really we'll have to see how good Magearna does to see if it is warranted. Well, firstly being a 1A, which apparently non-zero, and I believe Hughes, I don't want to drag Hughes into this, I know he's agreeing with non-zero for something which was roasting Magearna, but non-zero definitely said that Magearna shouldn't have been a first round picks, and it shouldn't have been 1A, so we'll have to show him. He'll probably turn out being right, because he's way better at Pokemon than me, but We have got yeah, but well, I guess we'll have to see about Magirna. But pairing that with a Rotom Wash, I think is quite good. The only unfortunate thing about Rotom Wash is that it doesn't really have the best recovery, but it does get Pain Split, and I do try and cure the fact that quite a few of my members of my team don't have reliable recovery, especially my walls in Magirna and Rotom Wash, and later on. So yeah. Also, I was about to say, Rotom Wash is great as electric type because ground types don't want to stay in against Rotom Wash. So that's great for forcing them out and then potentially being able to go for Volt Switch, gaining momentum, because they don't want to take a stab Hydro Pump, they don't want to get burnt, they don't want to take any of this stuff, and I can just defog in their face if they want to because their ground stab cannot hurt me. So that's what I think that electric type and Rotom Wash are really good. And people appreciate a fast Volt Switch a lot, but I think the Volt Switch, a slow Volt Switch can be good as well, to see maybe if a Pokemon at base 80 speed is scarfed, or see just basically if a Pokemon can outspeed my Rotom Wash, or if I can outspeed them. To see maybe if they are a set that's going to try and abuse the trick room that my Magirna might potentially set up. So with these three picks, I was looking pretty good, but I was looking for a dragon type, and a lot of dragons went. Zygarde went, Zygarde 10% went, Latios went. To be fair, I was talking through with Haz, and he was like, okay, I'm going to pick up either Latios or Latias, and which one do you want? And at that time I was like, I don't really care. There's not much of a difference, to be honest. I mean, I still stand by my word, but there is quite a difference between them, a bit more of a difference than people actually realize between the Latios. So I decided to pick up Latios' little sister, and I decided to pick up Latias. Which is going to be my Dragon type for this season, and also be my bulky Psychic type Pokemon. And I used Latios #Rayquaza in the SDL, the first ever league that I joined, and that was just an amazing Pokemon. It was a Pokemon you could bring every single week and just slap moves onto it, and it would just do amazing. Like, it could be a Defogger, it could be a Calm Mind user, it could just do all these things, and it was really just amazing. Latias, I think, is the same. It's a little bit bulkier, doesn't hit as hard, but I think that trade-off kind of works, especially for my team, because I already have a great offense in Magirna and Lopunny, and really I'm just trying to get some supporting cast. Plus also Latias is my second Pokemon that forms a phenomenal core with Magirna. I believe the only typing that breaks through them is Ghost, and I do have one of the best fighting types, actually, yeah, one of the best fighting types and normal types at checking ghost types is my Mega Lopunny because of the scrappy ability, so that's great. But the base 110 speed is going to be very nice, because that means that it's going to close the gap between my Mega Lopunny and whatever Pokemon I need to get on my team, and it gives me a second Defogger, so that means that I can run offensive Rotom Wash if I want to. But also Mega Latias is just a nightmare. It can run Calm Mind, it can be a cleric, no, not a cleric, sorry, it can be it just gets rapid recovery of Roost, and it also gives me my first Wish Passer, so that's very nice and keeping my options open. And you guys probably know, but I should be running Latias once at least this season, just because it's me, so yeah. I guess expect that. So yeah, we got Wish Latias as well, which can be nice for healing up my Magirna, and also the nice thing that Latias gets, and also I forgot to say that Lopunny gets, is Healing Wish, so I can potentially give my Magirna a second life, which is going to be huge in case there is, of course, a weakened team, and I can just heal them up, although probably in that case I'll probably heal up my Mega Lopunny just because it can outspeed a ton of Pokemon. But just Latias is a great Pokemon, and if it works just even like half as well as Latios did for me in the SCL, I think that it'll definitely be a good Pokemon. And I mean, it's a round 4 Latias, so I'm not exactly going to complain. So the next Pokemon I decided to pick up was a Pokemon that I wasn't really sure if it was the first Pokemon that I think I actually picked up on the correct round. I do think that I picked up a Pokemon that actually fell, and I actually sniped JP with this pick. I don't know how, because he had a Darkrai, and I thought this would be one of the last things on his list, getting a secondary Dark type. But I mean, hey, it's a snipe. All these other Pokemon I'm pretty sure were snipes on Mike, except for the Latias. So I decided to pick up Umbreon. I think that Umbreon is just an absolute nightmare to deal with, because it's just so bulky. I play RU, or I used to play RU. I don't actually play it anymore now. I usually play UU and OU, which actually encouraged me to pick up Latias, because literally Latias is a monster in UU. But Umbreon can just sit there in front of so many teams and just wall them out. It's incredible how many people actually sleep on Umbreon as a defensive Pokemon, just because its HP HP isn't that high, but you look at those defenses and you can't really argue that Umbreon is a beast. It does have access to, of course, Wish, which is great because it doesn't mean that my Latias has to be my Wish passer. And it should be able to pass some fairly fat wishes into Magearna, because Magearna, although it's very bulky, it only has to be a 65 HP stat, so we can be healing that up very well. We also have some nice options for momentum. In Baton Pass, we get Cleric and Heal Bell, and Synchronize is always nice because we can, if a tank is trying to toxic down one of my walls, maybe my Rotom, I can always exchange toxics with them without actually having to click and move myself. And then I can also File Play in case something like a Haxorus or any Dragon Dancer or Swords Dancer or Belly Drum user, I guess, wants to set up in my face. I can just click the File Play and get off a huge amount of damage. And also, I think it's quite essential to have a Dark type on your team, otherwise Psychic types just run rampant. I was watching a Joder, I believe, in the MPL, and he didn't have any Dark types, and just every single week it was just Psychic types brought versus him with Psychic Z crystals, and they just ran house on him. So Umbreon's pretty cool. There's some pretty nice sets like Curse Umbreon that can be ran. So I'll have to say Umbreon just again does a great defensive pivot. I'm happy that I got it, because if I didn't get Umbreon, I was kind of stuck what to do. It just filled so many things. It was a Cleric, it was a Wish Passer, it was a good bulky mon, it was a good Dark type. I probably would have picked up Zoroark, but again, it wasn't like if I had my Megalop my Zoroark as my Ghost Resistance. Yeah, I don't think I'd be too happy. So this gives me like a really good Ghost Resist, and actually gets Pursuit, which is something that actually annoyed me about my Dark type in Season 5, and it was Hydreigon, and I couldn't Pursuit trap, so Ghost types could just come in, go for a Shadow Ball, and then my opponent could switch out into a defensive pivot against my Hydreigon, and I couldn't do anything to stop them. So at least this time, if I am scared of a Ghost type, I can run Pursuit. Right, okay. So next up, I wanted a fire type Pokemon. I originally had Entei, and I actually drafted, well actually no, I was doing my RE exam, I believe, a Religious Education exam, while this draft was going on, and has put in for me to pick up Entei. I actually didn't tell them that it changed. I only told like Jack and someone else because I doubted that it would get to me, but no, it actually did. So like it like happened like, I don't know, like 30 minutes before I finished my RE exam, so I just came out and I was like, oh, okay, Entei's been picked for me. And I actually decided to pick up Darmanitan just because it secures that Volturn core, and I feel like even though Entei gives me a bit more priority, I think that that's alright, just because I do have very good wall core in my Rotom Wash, Magearna, Gladius, and Umbreon, and also just being able to secure that Volturn core again. For things that really appreciate free switchings like Magearna and Megaladia, no, not Megaladia, sorry, I gotta stop saying that, like Megalopony is really good. Darmanitan's just a great wall breaker. I don't know, it's just amazing. I just love Darmanitan so much. It just comes in, just clicks Flare Blitz. I've been doing some calcs of this Pokemon, and it's insane like how much damage it actually does. So I get a good Scarf out of this, the first Pokemon. Well, actually no, Latias I guess kinda can you run through Scarf, and so can Magearna, but like Darmanitan's a very viable choice Scarf user, and it just hits so hard, and especially if teams don't have maybe a Wish Passer or don't have the most reliable recovery, I can just constantly be chipping them down with U-turn, which is very nice. And what I think makes my team stand out against other teams is that I actually have an Umbreon and a Latias that can heal up the rest of my team, and I also have Megalopony with Healing Wish, so I can just constantly be healing up the rest of my team as I was disconnected. Doesn't really matter. I can be healing up my team that doesn't have recovery, so that's great. But yeah, I'm just smirking because Darmanitan has some fun sets that you can bring. Non-Zero, I believe, brought Sunny Day substitute Darmanitan in season 4. I can't remember who it was. Knowing Jeremiah, it probably was him, because his only like fire resist was a Alola Marowak and Greninja and Flygon, so which wasn't really that good. But I gotta stop poking fun at Jeremiah. Anyway, I say that, but he's picked up Starmie this season. That's his only water type. Right, okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, back to the video. So yeah, just a good U-turner, very good wall breaker, and complements Magearna really nicely, I feel. So yeah, just a good Pokemon in general, I feel. So next up, I decided to pick up Landorus. Originally, I really wanted Aerodactyl. I thought that Aerodactyl would work so well on this team, because with speed tier, I would have something that was just slower than Megalopony. I was planning to pick up my grass type, which you guys can see at the top right, which is going to be hopefully the MVP of this season. But we got Landorus instead, and I am forced to bring Sandforce Landorus. But I'm not really sure if this Pokemon should have been tier 2B or tier 1A, not tier 1A, tier 2A or tier 1B. It was in tier 2A originally, but I feel it could have been as a 1A just because Landorus just hits so insanely hard. I decided to make it my Z user because he can hit it on the physical side, he can hit it on the special side, he gets Can Mine, Sword Stance, Bulk Up, Rock Polish, just so much setup options, so many Z crystals that it can take advantage of. It can take advantage of Rockinium Z, Groundinium, Poisonium, Flyinium, Grassinium, I believe. Darkinium, Buginium, you get the point. Just a lot of moves, and also gives me a secondary U-turner, which is going to be very nice, especially if people's main responses to my Landorus are going to be both ground types. I can go send on my Landorus and get a Volturn core going in my Root and Wash, which is going to be very nice, and it gives me my first flying type. So even if there is a Mold Breaker or a terrible Pokemon, I can't have this Pokemon that can reliably just float above those ground type attacks. And I just feel like having this Pokemon on the team is going to be very nice, especially because of its speed tier base 101. That's going to that's going to allow me to outspeed all those base 100 Pixies, and also like all those other like really annoying base 100s like Typhlosion, Staraptor. Yeah, you guys know all those Pokemon, Ninetales. Yeah. Okay, so it also gives me a first stats rocker on the team. Again, Aerodactyl I felt would have been a bit better, but has picked it up, so it's like, you know, whatever. But I felt like Aerodactyl's a bit more of a viable stealth rocker than Landorus, just because Landorus is just so amazing as a wall breaker. Like, why would you not? But I can bring stuff like Focus Sash Leads, I can bring Yachi Berry Landorus and Secure to get up stealth rocks, and also I can bring some fun sets. I'm really going to be trying to model my Landorus Incarnate sets off of the Landorus Therian sets and OU, just because I play OU a lot, and I really a lot of my draft has been encouraged by the Pokemon that I have been drafting in been using in a UU and OU. So this is I don't know, I really like Landorus Incarnate, and I think that as the 7th round pick, there's nothing like I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with it as per se, and it also gives me my first knockoff user. You guys know that I love knockoff users, and I think that they're underrated. If you don't have a knockoff user on your team, what are you doing? Because I remember my PBA team had no ground type, which was, yeah, amazing. And it also, my only knockoff user was Tangela, so that was kind of frustrating because I was literally getting walled out by a Violite mons like Dusclops. I remember Curious Dusclops gave me a lot of was a huge nuisance versus me. But Landorus, you can run things like Z Sandstorm, especially with the Sandforce, which is going to be absolutely just an absolute nuke. So I can't wait. Sorry, I cannot speak today. I've actually been sunburnt, so just like, I don't know, like I've been feeling weird, you know, just like overheating, I guess. But I decided then to pick up a Pokemon that, because Landorus is at this point my only ground type, and I really didn't want my only ground type to be 4 times weak to ice. I don't think your only Pokemon should be 4 times weak to HP ice or HP grass, or I guess HP water. I feel like if that is the case, you should draft 2 ground types. So I decided to pick up a Seismitoad as well as my Landorus, so I have two ground types, which is going to be very good because now electric types have to decide whether they want to hit Landorus Incarnate or whether they want to hit Seismitoad. And Seismitoad gives me a very reliable stealth rocker, which is great. So I don't have to draft another stealth rocker, I don't believe, because Seismitoad, again, just an incredibly reliable stealth rocker. Gives me my second knockoff user and just has a very wide move pool. Also, it's kind of hard, especially if you start investing into it like that, based on 95 attack and the base 85 special attack. It's pretty good once you take into consideration. I think that Seismitoad gets a lot of slack just because its EVs don't really look that appealing, but once you start like investing into them, it can really start bulking attacks or hit quite hard. So we just got this really good water pivot. So we can just set up stealth rocks. Again, as I said from Road and Wash, I think that I was in the position where I could draft another water type if I wanted to. I also sniped Mike again, so that's great. I think I also sniped MX3 because he picked up Swampert, and I feel like Seismitoad's excuse me, better than something third. I feel like Seismitoad's better than Swampert just because it's a bit cheaper, and also you do get things like Water Absorb, and it's a bit faster as well. You also get stuff like Knockoff. However, Swampert does get Roar, and I don't believe Seismitoad gets that. So I don't really know. But I'm looking forward to having Seismitoad just as a defensive pivot. And yeah, so let's get on to the next Pokemon. I decided to pick up a Garbodor, and I would have picked up Garbodor later, but Coach was drafting a mono poison team, so I really want to pick up this Garbodor before he got it, because he had 2 picks before me, and I was like, oh gosh, no, he's going to pick up Garbodor. So I got Garbodor, and this Pokemon's going to be very nice because it allows me to hazard stack from things like my Mega Lopunny and from my Magearna and my Darmanitan, and even my Landorus Incarnate. I can set up Toxic Spikes, I can set up Spikes, and I feel like a ground and poison type is becoming slowly more crucial on drafts if you don't have poison types because of the popularity now of Toxic Spikes. I feel like your team is going to very much suffer the Toxic Spikes if opponents do bring them. Toxic Spikes have just been getting very popular now, especially with teams that don't have a grounded poison type. But Garbodor is just a good strong pivot. It's a good fighting resist, which I was kind of looking, and Latias was my only real fighting resist, as well as Landorus Incarnate. I mean, Landorus Incarnate is kind of bulky. I mean, it is a Landorus after all. But we can set up Toxic Spikes, we can set up Spikes. It is also my other Z user because I do get 60 points. Landorus only cost me 40. So I instead of drafting Seismitoad as my Z user, I got Z Garbodor, which actually can run some pretty fire Z moves. It does get like Ground and EMZ boosted attacks, and also Grass and EMZ, so some fun sets there that I can use. But just in general, just a good hazard stacker, and just a ground of poison types that deters people from bringing Toxic Spikes, even though I do think people will be bringing Toxic Spikes very much against my team because I got 3 Pokemon that can fly above them. But next up, I decided to pick up Aurorus. I feel like Aurorus would have been very cool in this team. Unfortunately, I didn't get any of the matchups that I really wanted to bring Aurorus for. I didn't get to play against Cav, I didn't get to play against Pack, and those guys had sand teams. So that was kind of unfortunate, but Aurorus still gives me a very good Focus Sash user with a lead, gives me another Stealth Rock user. Freeze Dry is always nice, and I feel like Coach Oak used it very well in Season 4, where he played Luke first week 1, and just straight off the bat, first turn managed to Oko his Mega Dance with the Scarf to Roar's Flash Cannon, so that was pretty huge. But we can use stuff like Refrigerator, Hyper Voice if people are going to be setting up substitutes on us. We do get the Snow Warning, which is very nice for 100% accurate blizzards, and I feel like the combination of Rock and Ice are just 2 of the best offensive typings in the game, so having that on the same Pokemon is going to be very, very good. And yeah, just having that heal to deter people from really bringing weather versus me is going to be nice. And finally, last but definitely not least, is Sceptile, which is my other Z user. And I know people were scratching their heads about this Pokemon, but trust me guys, trust me, okay? I need you to trust me, okay? Did I use Rapidash in the TBF? It got like nearly 3 kills versus Genghis, okay? The TBF only technically, well, I only blew 3 weeks, okay? It only really had the lifespan of 3 weeks. We all gave up after week 4. But for the 1 week that I brought Rapidash, it put in work, okay? So trust me when I say that Sceptile is going to be an awesome Pokemon to bring. And I know that the fact that it gets some burden is kind of weird, since it does have Z moves, but I can run things like Gracium Z with Overgrow, which can just do an absolute amount of damage. I don't really want to talk too much about Sceptile just because I have so many plans for it, so many options of coverage and Z boosted moves that I want to bring with it, and I just think that for it being a tier 5, it was a pretty solid option, as well as the speed tier being able to be 120 between the Latias and the Mega Lopunny. So I'm definitely glad with Sceptile as my grass type. I don't care what anyone says. Sceptile is going to be a fun mon to use. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe, as well as commenting down below, and goodbye.